All right. Hello.
Hello.
And welcome back to Jay and Mark number 22.
With special guest host, the Bodge.
Emily, the Bodge boy. Emily boy is my
What
girlfriend.
What is Bodge?
Bodge is the original spelling of her last name.
Oh.
Boy with a J.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
But when you guys immigrated, I guess they changed it to boy.
Yeah.
Because it was easier to comprehend.
Well, it's
You're an immigrant?
pronounced the same. No, I'm not an immigrant.
No, but like
say
her
Trump's
ancestors.
sending you back.
I don't think he has anything against Hungarians.
Oh, okay.
No, any immigrants he wants to send back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably an immigrant of some sort.
His wife is.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, shit.
That's what you call a hypocrite, ladies and gentlemen.
He's a hypocrite. Fucking liar. Anyway, so...
Welcome to Jay and Mark number 22. The special guest, Emily the Bodge boy.
The immigrant. We should just start calling her the immigrant.
I don't appreciate that.
Okay, then we're not going to do
All
that,
right.
ladies and gentlemen.
Um,
We don't want to piss off the Bodge.
Nope.
no, I certainly don't. Topic for this part of episode 22 is the paranormal and or aliens.
Yeah, one of my favorite topics.
One of Jared's favorite topics, and I believe Emily's as well.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. You know?
Yeah.
I'm open-minded. I guess where you want to start?
Well, I've got a video, and I kind of lost track of the video, so I'm not really sure which one it is. But with the video, I'm going to say, because you know how the government says that there's no aliens, blah, 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 blah. But if that's the case, why are there real men in black that go around and investigate these things?
I'm going to go ahead and say Johnny Cash. That's why. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Because he was the man in...
Gotcha. So anyway,
No, that's a good point.
After certain UFO sightings, there's also been sightings of this secret group known as the Men in Black, and there's video footage of these guys.
You talking about the surveillance footage of them like coming into places? And...
Yeah, and there's a ton of videos about them. But and we'll play it, whenever you want to play it, if you want to do it in post or whatever.
Whenever you're ready.
But
I mean, we can't talk about it if we haven't seen it, so we need to see it. That's why we have this set up. I feel like we talked about this.
Yeah, I guess we did.
Like 3 times.
I'm hoping this is in fact the right video, but the one that I watched before, that's the wrong hole. That's the wrong hole.
I'm sure you've been there before. But
oh, so anyway, this kind of talks about the Men in Black. It's kind of a long video, but you'll get the gist of it anyway, and then we don't have to play the whole thing.
it's 9 minutes. You might need to
start talking about aliens and shit, and my phone starts acting weird.
bum bum.
Bum bum bum. The plot thickens.
The cock thickens.
My cock thickens.
Roosters and chickens.
Today, I'm Ryan, that's Brent. This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we're covering the real-life Men in Black. Are they real? Are they as charming as their Hollywood counterparts? Watching
Probably
Men in
not.
Black, I never knew it was based on a true story. Today we find out. The Men in Black are typically described as wearing black suits, being expressionless, cold, sinister, and in some cases inhuman. The Men in Black seem to only talk to 2 kinds of people: those who claim to have seen a UFO and those who research UFOs. They present themselves as part of a secret organization, sometimes even producing a white card with a crest and the word security on it. And in some cases, they refer to each other by number rather than name. They threaten and scare people into remaining silent about their UFO encounters and or research. Think of them as the cleaners of the extraterrestrial universe. How much black do they actually wear? They look like the Men in Black that we see in the movies.
Okay, so basically, they're just a government agency, supposedly, that
Right.
shows up and talks to people who investigate and or have seen or been involved with UFOs.
Exactly. But the thing is,
But they're expressionless and very uniform, and apparently they look very similar to each other. Which brings me to something I've heard about before, is that the Men in Black themselves are actually alien.
yes. My question is, if the government's saying that, aliens haven't been here, basically, if they're trying to hide everything the way they have been,
Yeah.
why do they have this government agency? And it's not just, a couple reports of these people showing up and, like they just said in the video, threatening people to keep quiet. What? And I understand, like, there could be the whole mass hysteria or whatever where people just start freaking out over the thought, because there's some people that can't handle that. But
See, I feel like that's a cop-out, especially in this day and age. It's not, people will flip the fuck out, no doubt.
right.
But I think the more time goes on, the more accepting we are all becoming. More people are coming to terms with the fact that, okay, we're not alone out there, and someday we're going to know this.
Right. How could we be?
Exactly. I mean, more and more people are starting to believe. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you think about it like Mulder and Scully. But
I think they're already here.
oh, I have no doubt.
I think they're already here, and I think that they're literally working right next to us every day. Some days I think Justin's an alien. Just, whatever. Love you, Justin. I know you don't watch, but anyway. There's some days I think that dude just can't be human. but whatever.
Now that I know him, that's really funny.
Right. But no, I think they're already here.
I mean, if they exist and they're able to fly around in our atmosphere and come visit and shit, of course they're here. They're probably amongst us now, For all, like I said, the Men in Black.
Emily looks nervous. Maybe she's one.
Well, just like I said, for all we know, the Men in Black themselves, if they exist, are alien. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been here all along.
Or maybe they're not a government agency. Maybe they're an alien agency that's going around saying, hey,
Posing as a government
keep your damn mouth shut.
Maybe. Or maybe, like you said,
Or
if
maybe
the
they're working
government's
with
saying that aliens
government.
don't exist, why would they have this government agency, to basically intimidate people into keeping their mouth shut? Why wouldn't they? They do it with everything else. They do it when it comes to, recon and all that kind of shit. When it comes to war and espionage, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like something any government.
Well, but do you think
any
that
power
it's
wouldn't
do you
do.
think that it's the government trying to cover it up because they're afraid people will just freak out, or do you think they're trying to cover it up because they know things that we don't know?
I think they're
and
trying to...
they might know that they're already here. And I don't want to refer to the movie Men in Black because that was,
fictional.
yeah, pretty far-fetched, but at the same time, well, not far-fetched, but the way it was presented was kind of silly.
Well, yeah.
But what if they are already here and they are working with our government? And that's why the government's trying to cover it up, because they don't want us to know.
What do you think?
She has thoughts, I can see it.
I know.
And it's like she's not wanting
What
to.
if because you don't hear about the Men in Black as often as you hear about your classic abduction stories. Okay?
Or UFOs in general.
Yeah, they're not always a part of it. So maybe where the Men in Black come into play, those people were actually abducted by the government and tested on. And they thought that it was, think Scully.
So they were abducted by a weather balloon?
They were abducted by a certain branch of the government to test on humans, maybe to make some sort of humanoid soldier type thing.
Captain
And the
America?
Men in Black go in afterwards to make sure that they don't remember anybody specific to the government.
So you're
Yeah,
saying
I
that they
like that
actually have a
idea, too.
neuralizer and they're having these motherfuckers look at it and they're erasing their memories? and shit?
No, I'm saying that they have like electroshock and probes that they can just lobotomize somebody real quick with.
So you're
Ouch.
saying the men in black are the ones doing these abductions and stuff, not the aliens?
Not so much. I'm saying the government might be doing the abductions. Some of them, not all of them, because I do believe in aliens. Some abductions, the men in black go in afterwards.
I feel like none of it is like some of it's probably connected. All these different occurrences when it comes to aliens and UFOs and abductions and shit like that. It's probably sometimes aliens. It's probably sometimes the government. It's probably sometimes
People's crazy imaginations.
some traumatic experience they've had and they just that's what they turned it into. You know what I mean?
I feel like we're next because we're talking about this and it's going to go on.
God, I hope so.
I feel
Oh
like
my
we
God,
can't
I
be
hope
the only
so.
people to
Yeah,
ever talk like
please,
this about
no.
it. Publicly.
No, I hope so.
I don't. Get him, not me. I'm
Come
fine
get
where I
me.
am.
Come get me, because I want to know.
We will give you him.
Take him.
I will
Take
give
'em.
you me.
But
Anyway.
I feel like there's multiple, I guess, entities behind these things. Like, it's not always the same thing happening.
No, there's multiple scenarios. Aliens are taking people, government's taking people, government's taking aliens, aliens taking government.
Or, I mean, like, maybe all these Men in Black occurrences aren't... Maybe every time it's not Men in Black. Maybe people are just dumb and it's like, oh, these guys are wearing black suits. They must be the fucking Men in Black. And maybe sometimes it is the Men in Black. Maybe sometimes it's government agents wanting to make you think they're the Men in Black. Maybe it's aliens making you want to think they're the Men in Black.
Maybe it's actually a dark shade of blue. We just think it's black.
Yeah, maybe it's like that damn dress that everybody's talking about last year.
Or maybe it is the Men in Black, and it's because if you go on YouTube, you can go on YouTube and you can see several of these videos where it's some of it's like closed circuit television video. It's just different types of video, but it's showing like the same fucking people, and it's like all over.
Kinda
It's not like different people; it's the same people that they keep catching on these videos.
like on Fringe, the Watcher or whatever, the guy that had bald as his. Remember that show Fringe?
yeah,
He was. I only watched like the first season, but he was all throughout the first season. I'm pretty sure from what Mom told me, he was all throughout the show. But he was just a bald guy, no eyebrows, no hair whatsoever, just pale. And he was always in a suit, and he was always around with like a fedora on, and just watching with a
Yeah.
briefcase and shit. Kind of like him.
yeah,
Like it was always that guy.
yeah.
It makes me think of Buffy for the silent episode where it's like almost like the Slenderman creepy people going around where they just got like these big ass smiles on their face, but the entire episode is like silent because nobody
Like
can
Edgar
speak.
from Men in Black.
Edgar.
Yes. Yeah. Just
Your
scary.
skin's hanging off your bones.
Sugar, more sugar.
Edgar. Your skin's hanging off your bones.
Okay.
How's this?
But yes.
That brother?
That sounds just like him. But
That was pretty good.
But I've read books by a lady named Dolores Cannon, and she's she does like past life regressions. She deals with like hypnosis and whatnot.
That would be cool.
It is.
I would do that.
The Convoluted Universe. There's like 4 or 5 of those books now. I've only read the first 2, but they're great. And she has another one called The Custodian. She's got all kinds of stuff where what she does is she's a hypnotherapist, and she'll put people into past life regressions, or if somebody is missing, time in their life and shit, or they're blocking things out, she will help them find these things, and then people can work through their problems and shit. Well, sometimes some crazy shit happens when you're dealing with the subconscious, and she can talk to aliens, she can talk to other interdimensional beings, she could talk to the subconscious mind that knows fucking everything. Because according to like metaphysics and shit like that, our subconscious mind is like all knowing. It has like the knowledge from all our past lives and shit like that. We are fucking extremely intelligent subconsciously. And we know what's going on because really it's our spiritual life that is our subconscious. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has all the knowledge that we've acquired through everything.
I was actually listening to another podcast.
But my point is here is that she's talked about. So I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, that's okay.
I'm trying to finish my thought here. But she's talked about alien abductions, and people have gone to her like, I've been abducted by aliens. This is what happened. Tell me, what is this? This is all I remember. Help me remember more. And she will do that. And she will bring them back to this time when it happened. And it turns out that, let's say this lady, her story, like one of the stories, I don't know the exact I don't remember all of it, but in a nutshell, basically this lady was driving down the road. She saw an owl in the middle of the road. She stopped and she looked at it. And she said this owl turned into an angelic type being and spoke to her and just told her
Who?
things, talked to her. Some lady she was doing this with.
Who?
What the fuck are you? What do you mean who? Are you listening?
The owl. Who?
Okay. Anyway, I don't even remember what I was saying now.
She saw this owl, and the owl was
An angelic being. It was saying things to her.
That's what it actually was. She was this thing that was supposedly an owl sitting there staring at her for this 5 or 10 minutes of her life was actually going on for hours. And this thing was actually, like, through the past life regression, she was actually talking to this angelic being. I think the angelic being actually took her and, like, showed her things and taught and, like, interacted with her, like, somewhere else. And then put her back, like, hours later. But it only seemed like
minutes.
Yeah, to her. And there's all kinds of shit like this. The weird thing is, a lot of it has to do with owls. Like half the story she tells, it starts out with somebody seeing an owl.
Maybe that's why I'm obsessed with owls.
But how many times
I love owls.
have you seen in movies where owls are involved with that kind of shit? Like The Fourth Kind? Weren't owls like all over?
But that was supposed to be based on like actual.
So is this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that might be like a similar. I don't know of any other movie with aliens that have to do with anything with owls.
No, dude, I've seen at least 2 or 3 movies in my life where owls are directly involved with these UFO abductions. I've seen a couple movies like that.
Well,
anyway,
to go along with your thought,
maybe that's what like the Men in Black thing is. They're showing you the Men in Black, but really it's something else.
Well, possibly, but how are they catching the Men in Black on film?
Yeah, but
On
I mean,
video.
If they're able
you
to
could
do
catch an owl on film.
I don't.
So are the owls like, and I'm not saying this to be silly, but are the owls like shape-shifting
I think
to look
they're
like
not
the Men in
owls.
Black on video?
What they're doing, they're showing you an owl, something you're comfortable with at the time.
So the Men in
something
Black,
that's not going to freak you out, and then they kind of like get you.
so it's like the Men in Black are showing you the owl.
The Men in Black are always on, seen on camera in like a public place. So in a public place, what is going to be there are people.
Right.
So they're represented as people. Whereas like if she's walking through nature, she sees an owl.
Right. I gotcha.
You know what I mean? But in reality, it connects to her subconscious as something else.
Yeah,
Right.
like this, yeah.
Well, to go along kind of with what you were saying about the subconscious and things, I was listening to this other podcast, and they were talking about like meditation, and how when you become, I guess it's incredibly hard to become, I guess, a master at meditation, but once you do, you can kind of access that other part of your brain and your subconscious, and you can. Trying to think of how they said it, but basically you can almost teleport yourself into another area that, you know what I mean, and see things that are going on somewhere else and then come back.
They call it remote viewing. It's when you can look at some far off distance in your mind as if you were actually there.
Yeah. But in this podcast, they were talking about the subconscious and stuff, but that's what it reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
And saying that, basically you can, without ever actually leaving and going to this place, just through meditation, you can,
I completely
view
and
that.
utterly believe that.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Well, okay, and with that said,
To the point where the government has actually experimented with it. To the point where they made a movie about it called Men Who Stare at Goats.
with all that said,
Powers and shit.
there is also another video that I linked to that talks about like meditations of all kind, and they think that Jesus Christ was actually a master at meditation.
Oh,
And
probably.
And his 40 days or whatever it was out in the desert, where he fasted for 40 days, and they think he was actually out there just meditating.
Yeah.
And that's how he saw all this stuff that he saw, and came back and told everyone basically what's coming.
Like, yeah, look, I know I'm gonna die and all this shit.
Right.
Yeah, like, I think Christians believe that he was actually there, like, talking to God.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
He very well could have, because
what do you think? That all depends on what you consider a God.
right. Yeah. God could be your subconscious. And that's why people that think that they're actually speaking to God,
Well,
they're speaking with their subconscious, or they're
Jesus-
being told by their subconscious, hey, you don't want to do that.
well, Jesus is constantly quoted as saying, like, he is the Son of God. He's even said we are all the sons of God. You know what I mean? Which goes right along with that whole idea of the subconscious and us all being one collective consciousness, which is basically us all being God.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it, the Bible is probably telling you the truth. You're just interpreting it in whatever fucking way you want to.
Right.
I actually had experiences with that when I was going to therapy weekly. She would always try to get me to meditate and like try
So
to
did
get
my
me to calm
therapist.
down. Yeah, you can't do it when you're there,
Right.
but like
But they tell you how to do it.
right. So I would come home, and before I would go to bed, I would try to meditate, and I'd put my headphones in and everything else, and I was having some of the most vivid, just some of them were disastrous dreams, and I still have the notes in my phone because the next morning I would feel exhausted, like I needed to go to sleep,
Yeah.
and I would just like write down everything I could remember.
See, my therapist tried to do the same thing with me, and I could never get to that point because I would literally fall asleep. I mean, like that.
Oh.
As soon as I started working on the whole deep breathing part of it and focusing on, floating through clouds or whatever it was I was trying to focus on, I was asleep.
No, see, like there's dents in the wall next to where I slept from me hitting it. There's, like I, got the nails or whatever. I'd wake up and a couple would be broke. Like they were really difficult dreams, and I noted them all down. But it's insane. I would wake up with sweats or be extremely thirsty, like I've just been running a marathon. It was weird.
It's like it was actually happening.
Yeah.
It's like, I believe they call that lucid dreaming. Like where you actually feel like it's actually real. Like I've had lucid dreams and I was pissed off too when I woke up because I was in school. But in my dream, I went to school. I went out through my whole day, and by the end of my dream, I was at home, done with my day. I wake up in the morning, my alarm's going off. I gotta go to fucking school, and I feel like I was just at school.
But like it was
8
in
more hours of
different
bullshit.
time periods, but everybody felt familiar. Like there was one of them, and I remember this. Like I was looking at somebody, and they didn't look familiar, but I knew that it was my mom.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird because I've actually had dreams where I've seen people I've never met before in my life, and then I've seen those people later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I've
done
never
that
have
too.
no fucking. But I'm like, I know that person, and then like I get scared later. When I think. When I realize that I've
Yeah.
never met that person before in my life, but I knew them because of a dream. Like I almost felt like I missed an opportunity there. Like I was supposed to talk to that person, or that person was meant to be there.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was supposed to just tell me that my mind is way
reason.
more powerful than I thought. Like, it's supposed to make me aware that, like, there's more going on inside my head than what I am aware of.
We should do that. We should do, like, a test, like, with ourselves or something for a show one time to see if we can possibly open up our consciousness to anything.
I think that'd be cool for us, but I think it'd be boring for anybody listening and watching to sit there and watch us trying to deep breathe.
No, I don't mean like meditate. I'm like maybe the what is it? The Gammonsfelder. You know, where you cover your eyes, you like cut a ping pong ball in half, you cover your eyes, you cut off your hearing, and you have the red light that's
It's like
flashing,
Men in Black shit.
flashing in your face. A lot of like paranormal research teams do it and stuff to open themselves up completely to anything that is not like the physical.
It's like it deprives you of your senses, so
Yeah.
that you can focus
So that you can
more.
focus in on
Okay,
you
that
know,
on your mind.
non-physical
I was going to ask
senses.
about the ping pong balls, but that just explained it.
A lot of
Yeah.
artists and stuff go into like sensory deprivation tanks and stuff to get inspiration.
Yeah.
So they can just clear their mind and have just that flow of brand new thoughts. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool.
I'd do it.
God damn it, Stitch! I
Yeah.
put you down like 14
I would do it. I would be down for that.
Yeah.
God. See, I never remember my dreams anyway, though. I know I dream, and I know that I have, like you said, very vivid dreams sometimes. But after I wake up, within 10, 15 minutes, I have no idea what I was dreaming about.
That's how I usually am too, but these ones have literally stuck with me like, I mean, just like a memory would.
Yeah.
And that's why they just kind of struck me.
Oh, there's
like,
dreams I'll never forget. And I forget 99% of my dreams.
There is a dream that I have. It's a recurring dream. It's really stupid. I've probably told you this before.
I have a dumb recurring dream, too, that I've had since I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure I've told you about this one before. But my recurring dream, I always remember having this one, though. And I've figured out that it's always when I'm trying to, like, overcome something or I'm dealing with stress from something. And until I get through whatever that is, I have that dream constantly. But the dream is, and like I said, I know it sounds stupid, and I've even had people laugh at me when I tell them, but I'm being chased by the ball from Indiana Jones. Do you remember me telling you this? Mm-hmm. I'm being chased. I'm running from that ball in Indiana Jones. And then I get stopped, and I can't move anymore, and the ball's getting closer and closer to me, and that's when I wake up. But I'm always stopped. It's a cheese and cracker stick. You know the red cheese and cracker stick? It's right in front of me. And it's literally this big right in front of me. You know?
The little red plastic stick that comes in the little peel back crackers and cheese package.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can't get over it. I can't go around it. I come to a dead stop. And the ball's getting closer and closer and closer to me, and before it reaches me, I wake up.
Let me ask you this. Is it a cheese ball?
No, it's the Indiana Jones big rock.
See, that would make a little more sense with the red stick.
That would make more sense, but no, it's
and I think you could survive a cheese ball. You probably just get crushed right into it, and you just keep rolling.
And then eat my way out.
Ooh, it's delicious.
And not
Terrible
shit
for
for a year and a half.
Right. But then whenever I'm facing something that's got me, confused or unable to figure something out, I always have that dream. And then once I figure out what I got to do,
so it's like
whatever it is, and I get past it, that dream goes away.
So it's like that dream is almost like a...
It's like my brain while I'm sleeping trying to figure the process out to get through it.
It's like a screensaver playing while you're fucking defragmenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
it's that like standing by.
Yeah.
Well, for maintenance type thing.
And I don't have it all the time, but it's usually when I'm stressed out about something. And then once I get through whatever that is that's stressing me out, I don't have it anymore.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be, every few years that it happens.
I have two reoccurring dreams. One I've only had within probably the last 10 years, but there's one I've had my whole life. Excuse me. But I've never actually noticed any patterns with it. It seems to just be random. but maybe I'm just not picking up on certain things. Maybe I'm never figuring it out, and that's why it's constantly happening. Since I was a kid, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But what it is and I don't. Well, I'll get to that near the end. But I'm being held by my shoulders, but I think is a giant bird, like an eagle. It's holding me by the shoulders and it's flying and just letting me dangle. We're going down a river. It's flying, or it's with the river.
You told me about
my
this.
feet are in the water, dragging in the water. It's lifting me up from time, because it's flying. I mean, I could feel the water in my feet, dude. And it's cold. And fucking, he's doing that until eventually we get to a waterfall and it drops me. And I fall down the waterfall. As I'm falling down the waterfall, I feel that shit in my stomach when you're on a roller coaster going down a hill or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I either wake up before I hit the bottom or the dream turns into something else. Every time. But that always happens. That happens my whole life. It's probably happened to me 1,000 times I've had that dream. Maybe more. And I still don't know what the fuck it's about.
Yeah. I would love to go see somebody that does, like, interpretations of dreams. Because I do have another one that you just reminded me of where a lot of times in my dreams I'm flying. Like, literally, like Superman. I can just, take off and go.
Yep, up and away.
Just fly away. And then I have other ones where, like, I can literally breathe underwater, and I'm underwater doing whatever the fuck I'm doing.
So you're like living out the Justice League
Kind of.
in your dreams.
Yeah, but I'm not fighting anything. I'm trying to figure out my own shit, I guess. But I have dreams where I'm being chased by a giant Indiana Jones ball, being stopped by a cheese and cracker stick. I have other dreams where I can fly, and other dreams where I'm underwater.
Shit, see, I don't have too many dreams.
See, there's 2 dreams that I've had for the majority of my life, one of which has scared me to death because I don't understand it, and the other one was just fucking weird. But the weird one was I would always have this dream ever since I was little that I was at a public pool, and we were all, you know how I feel about water. And
I know this story, actually.
we're all just swimming around, and then I go too far, and I'm under the water, and I'm looking around at everybody's, like, legs and feet, and everybody's just walking around me, and it's not very deep. It's, like, 2 feet of water. But I'm, like, 5 years old, and I'm laying there and drowning, and then somebody reaches in and grabs me. So it was only, like, maybe 3 years ago that I was telling my mom about this dream, and she just immediately started crying, and she said, "That's not your dream, that's my dream." She's like, "That happened to me when I was 5.
What?
And her dad's the one who pulled her out.
So you're
Wow.
actually dreaming your mom's memory.
Which that just, and I called my grandpa. I was like, "Did this actually happen? Did you do this?" And he confirmed it.
That's nuts. I forgot about that part of it.
Do you think that, like, as a child, maybe you heard your mom at one point telling that story, and for some reason, like Mark said, subconsciously, it just stuck with you,
See,
and you're having dreams about it?
I don't have any recollection of her ever mentioning that. She never wanted to talk about that things. Like, as long as I can remember.
That is crazy.
I have been terrified of water. For as long as I can remember. He's never seen me in a pool. He never will see me in a pool. I won't even walk a foot deep in the ocean. I won't do it. And
I love the ocean,
so
too.
my parents never tried to tell me anything like that. That would make me not want to go in a pool.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
so when she told me
that's
that, I was like,
crazy.
What I think about is that you lived inside your mom for 9 months. Like, for all you know, some of her memories were installed in your brain.
it's possible.
Because I mean, you're
Maybe.
probably you're experiencing it in your dream as if you were her, and this is so vivid to you. Like,
Yeah.
you think it's real, so it's as if you've almost lived it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Maybe, yeah.
Another.
Maybe she was having a
I mean,
dream
that was
about
probably
it.
an extremely
Maybe.
traumatic experience to her that was so traumatic it got passed on to you.
Another dream that I had, again, when I was little, I just dreamt that I walked into the kitchen and I grabbed a knife and I cut a crescent moon shape into my arm. And I have that scar in my arm.
But you never did that?
I never did that.
So where did the scar come from?
I don't know where the scar came from.
Maybe
So-
it wasn't a dream. Maybe you were
Drunk.
Sleepwalking?
yeah.
Or wasted or on drugs or something.
Well, I was a small child,
Oh.
so
I don't
no.
know. You didn't mention that part. I don't remember.
And I've never done drugs.
And it's an actual scar, or is it like a birthmark?
No, it's a scar.
Wow.
You tattooed over it, I guess.
I think so.
Well, there goes the proof.
right
I don't believe
here.
it. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, I can remember just carving it,
Crazy.
and like I can remember the pain and everything. Like my arm's a little tingly right now just even talking about it. And I woke up, never had a wound. I've just always had the scar.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. See, the only other reoccurring dreams I'm sure I've had a couple. I just can't think of them right now. But I know there's like, it's weird too because it's different than a reoccurring dream. It's like a reoccurring theme in the dream because it'll be in different places. But I'll have this reoccurring theme of a dream, like in the same type of settings, or maybe even the same setting. Like I'll have it at, like I have this reoccurring. One of these reoccurring dreams, I'm at a party. Sometimes it's the same party in the same house. Sometimes it's a different party in a different house with different people. You know what I mean? And I'm usually either looking for someone or trying to find something here. And it's
But you don't know who or what?
Sometimes I know. Sometimes I know that I know, but I don't actually know. You know what I mean? Like in the dream, I know what I'm looking for, but
Maybe you're Nicolas Cage looking
my
for the national treasure.
consciousness doesn't. I doubt that.
Oh, okay.
But like in my dream, I know who I'm looking for. But if you asked me, I couldn't tell you the fuck I was looking for. You know what I mean? Like, usually, like I'm either looking for like my girlfriend or somebody I was there for, or sometimes I don't even know. Like I'm just, and it's like I really want this to happen. Like it's
In your dream.
I'm on a mission. You know what I mean?
Well, like what's happening in your life when you have these dreams?
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't tell you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants a piece of the bodge.
Well, this is something that's been happening for the last 10
The
years.
whole
I've been with her for 3 years. But yeah, that's always something that like trouble. I'll be at a house, or I'll be in like a building of some sort. Like it's weird, but it's like it's not always the same setting, and it's not always the same thing. But I'm always like, I feel the same way. Like it's the same situation, just with different factors involved.
Right.
Have you ever like had a dream about a house or a place, and then all of a sudden, when you're driving, you drive by it,
No, I've had dreams
and you're
where
just like,
place I've never been
"Holy
to in my
shit."
life. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you
Same thing
can
with
you
people.
can walk people through the house because
I've
talked
never
about
I've
it.
never done anything like that, but I've experienced like the whole deja vu thing,
yeah.
where you see something and you think, okay, I recognize that from somewhere,
Yeah.
or something.
Dude, I'll have deja vu of deja vu.
Yeah.
I'll be like, man, I just had deja vu, and then I'll be like, I just had deja vu of saying I just had deja vu, and then sometimes it'll even go to like a third level.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
it's
I just
a
had deja
long-
vu of remembering me having deja vu of remembering me having and I'm not even joking.
It's
like I'm not
weird.
even stretching that it happens. And I'm always like stopped in my tracks for a moment, like what the fuck was that all about?
Mm-hmm.
And then like I just kind of slowly it leaves my mind and I start doing other shit. But it's weird. I know that sounds like ridiculous, but it's true.
Okay. What are your thoughts on ghosts?
Quick change of subject here. Before we get too far down, we'll see where we're at.
I don't
We're already at
know.
43 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, and we only have
And
like an hour
I
or so.
kind of have a little bit of a point behind that question,
what's
but
your
I want to
point?
hear. I just want to hear
Oh.
what your thoughts are on
Your
ghosts.
question was, say it again.
What is your thought on ghosts? And like,
Like, do
Like
we think
spirits
they
and
exist,
ghosts.
or what do we think they are,
yeah.
or both?
I don't so much believe in your typical ghost. Probably because of like my mixed religious beliefs. I do, however, believe in energy and how an energy of a certain event or a certain person can be
Lenore, get the fuck down. Continue.
can be captured in one place.
Okay,
Like
and
stuck?
that's kind of where I was going with my question.
Yeah.
Because I like to watch a lot of those ghost hunting shows and all that stuff too, because I really like ghost things. But what do you think? Because they say that like there's residual hauntings, there's there's just all different kinds. But then there's those ones that the energy basically imprints itself onto something or into something, and then somebody could, actually walk through there and see a flash of what's going on.
Yeah.
Or what happened in the past. Or people see ghosts or whatever, and they'll walk from like one side of a hallway to the other side of the hallway and go through the wall, and then you find out that later on
There was once a doorway there.
there was once a doorway
Yeah.
there, and it's like, and they consider that like a residual haunting because it happens over and over and over
Yeah.
and over
I
again.
totally buy that.
Yeah.
Because, residual energy exists in science. Like, there are conduits for things. There are things that store energy.
Quartz.
Batteries exist. You know what I mean?
Quartz, land with more quartz underneath, the ground level or whatever has more residual energy.
Well, no, just the fact that how energy works. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Energy can be stored and kept in a place for a long period of time. It can restore itself over time. Like, how many times have you had a battery completely dead? Put it in a fucking drawer for a couple months. You come back and it has just enough charge built over from just the energy in the air
That you're finally able to turn your TV off.
that it works again
Yeah.
for a brief moment
Our
of time.
houses are and everything we surround ourselves with are conduits for energy.
Energy, just research energy, and that's enough to back up residual energy of a spirit or anything, any occurrence. People have seen visions of something that has happened in the past, and then it's just completely erased because that was a giant event that had so much, like a tsunami or something, or like a natural disaster, a tornado. People have seen these visions of things in their yard of shit that happened years ago, like
Right.
50 years ago.
Right.
And it was just so intense, so much. It was let's say it was a tornado, right? That's electrically involved already.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was so much happened there that it just kind of stayed there. And if you think about time travel in a way, it's kind of time travel. Just through energy. Like you're looking back in time.
Yeah,
Just
no,
like
I
a
gotcha.
ghost traveling through a wall, through a residual haunting or whatever. You're basically just seeing a glimpse back in time just because of the residual energy there.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're seeing an old image on top of a new image.
yeah, I got you.
I know, I'm just trying to put it in I'm trying to Michio Kaku that shit and make it like make that shit, Neil deGrasse Tyson that
Now,
shit.
your body, for example, the spirit in your body that apparently leaves when you die. If you're going with the religious side of it, your spirit leaves your body when you die,
That's a good example too.
and you go heaven, you go hell, you go wherever it is that you go.
And not to cut you off,
Do you
but depending
believe-
on how dramatic your death was, right there's a bunch of fucking energy released just by the emotions involved.
Okay,
Anyway, go ahead.
So do you think that it's spirit or energy?
Energy.
I think it's the same thing.
Okay. Where do you think that goes when you die? Do you believe that you go to heaven or you go to hell? Or where do you think your energy or spirit goes when you die?
I think your energy is dispersed.
Well, you can get scientific with that too.
Yeah.
Because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It could just be transferred into something else.
Yeah.
So technically, you're probably just going to the something else.
Which would be heaven or hell.
No.
Who knows?
I don't so
it could
much,
be. It's
no.
the spiritual realm. It's
the
wherever.
earth. That's what I think. I think your energy just goes back into the earth to be born again in
Honestly, I don't know.
a different way.
Right. Well, I guess I'm leading into the whole heaven and hell theory and then alternate dimensions theory.
Well, if you really think about it, heaven and hell, it's just an alternate dimension. If you really get down to it. Like, it doesn't exist here, but it exists alongside of here, kind of. It would just be like a parallel.
There could be a parallel
world.
plane that could be similar to heaven and one similar to hell. I don't feel that our energies or spirits, if you will, from this plane automatically go to one or the other.
Right.
No, I feel like energy goes where energy will be most effective. And if there's negative energy, it's going to go to a negative place. If there's positive energy, it's going to go to a positive.
See, I think opposites attract. If you have a positive energy, I think it's going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Energies that in the religious community they consider heaven or hell.
See, that's so confused because you're just like tying it to something that you don't even really don't even know if it's tied to that. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, I guess what I'm getting at is, okay, we kind of discussed the residual hauntings, but there's also the intelligent hauntings that they talk about where, I mean, there's documented cases where they will carry on, I don't want to say electronic conversations, but where I mean that's kind of what it is, or kind of like a spirit box or the voice recorders where they'll ask a question and they don't hear it, but when they play back the audio of it, they can actually hear an intelligent response to what they're asking.
Be their energies because they're asking the question, so subconsciously they already know of an answer that they're wanting to hear. So their energies, because they're, got the adrenaline built up in that moment, could be producing like an energy wave over, you know what I mean, creating a voice.
Well, see, I think it could be multiple things at work there. I think it could be that. It could be the device that is capable of picking up way more than what a human is picking up something, perhaps you, from this dimension. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's, let's say, if the whole parallel worlds thing is real, and there's a version, 100,000 different versions of me doing all the things I didn't do in this world. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm doing the exact same thing in this world, but in a different way, and it's picking up me, or picking up her from that world. Because I can't do that, but who's to say this machine can't pick it up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cameras pick up things we can't see. There's things as infrared camera. Our eyes are only capable of so much. Our ears are only capable of so much.
I agree.
Can hear shit from miles away.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that because I've watched our podcast before, and I see cats and I see dogs, and you guys don't even have cats and dogs.
Whatever.
Yeah. No, we have two cats
just kidding.
and 2 dogs. So you're not crazy.
Many of each.
Yes, you are not crazy. They exist.
But I guess my original question was, where do you think that energy goes? And do you think, which I guess you've already kind of answered that in a way, but do you think it goes to like an alternate reality or an alternate dimension where, like Mark was saying, and like I've said to Mark before, where there could be multiples of us right here next to each other? Like,
we're doing this right now, but we're talking about a different topic.
Yeah. Or maybe in some other alternate dimension, like this is our second podcast today. Maybe after the first one, we were like, sorry, dude, I gotta go. I got crap to do today.
And it's just me and Emily.
And I'm already on my way back to the house, and I'm sitting there playing with my daughter.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Well, that happens sometimes.
Playing with my donger.
That happens sometimes too.
Oh my God.
But in this dimension or whatever,
yeah,
we're carrying on a whole nother podcast, and then, but my question is, when we do die, where does that energy go?
That's
So
the,
you're
that's the
asking
billion-dollar
if
question.
energy can
Or
cross
our
interdimensionally.
spirit?
You know what I mean?
And yeah,
So,
like the whole bright light when you die. They say you see this light. Maybe it's not so much you going to heaven or hell. It's you going into this other
see,
dimension.
I see that bright light every time I have a migraine. So I feel like that bright light is just losing vision.
Or your brain dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your sensories are cutting off.
It's
That's
what death looks like. You know what I mean?
You know who I really want to talk to, and we need to get on this show, and I've said it before, Joe Turno.
I don't have
That
any problem
dude,
with that.
that dude has got some cool theories
No, I'm down. I'm down for that for sure.
on alternate
need a bigger
dimensions.
We need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
We plan on getting a better table.
But I don't know. I just find it all fascinating, and I like to get other people's ideas because here again, part of the reason I don't go to church anymore is because I just have thoughts and ideas and
that they don't even address.
that they don't. Well, not even that. That if I were to go back to church and say, well, this is kind of what I think, they're gonna go, you need to leave.
Maybe.
You need to
Maybe.
leave
I mean,
because
there are
that's,
churches that I'm sure are like that.
Yeah, they're gonna say you need to just go because
'Cause
that
this
is not at all what we think.
No,
Yeah.
and we're kind of offended that you even think.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I don't believe in God, and I don't believe that Jesus
No, no.
Christ. You know, I mean, for all I know, Jesus Christ. You know,
It was just a really cool cat. Nobody's talking about.
maybe the dude
Really
was
in touch with himself and the world.
probably
and shit.
some kind of hipster that was
He made
was
Santos
really intelligent.
famous.
Yeah, really intelligent
Did he?
guy, was probably into meditation, and he just knew some far out shit.
No.
And he
I
tried
mean,
to tell people about it.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of what I've been saying. Maybe Jesus was just like a dude like me who was just really interested in stuff, was trying to figure it out. He was just really in touch with God, his idea of God.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, anybody who has some sort of belief in a higher power has even the slightest relationship with a God type figure. Like, maybe not a relationship, that's how Christians put it, but I mean, have some idea of a God type figure.
right. Well, I guess what I was getting at was maybe he was one of those one of those meditation
Gurus?
masters
He was a guru.
that he could
And he was
get,
just misunderstood.
well, he could get to places in his mind that nobody else can see, and when he's telling people, this is what's coming, this is what I saw, this is what my father showed me, I'm going to die, and then I'm going to come back in 3 days, and then you're all going to be like, what the hell just happened? And I'm going to say, I told you so.
And then I'm going to be like, peace, and I'm going to fly up
Yep.
to the sky.
And then I'm going to be like, I'm out.
Could very well be.
You know?
I mean, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother episode.
Right.
Uh,
But who's to say that while he was going through that deep, heavy, whatever meditation that he was going through, he wasn't traveling through his mind into these other dimensions and seeing shit that was to come. You know what I mean? And
Right.
that's where I was getting at with what I originally said
Yeah.
was, being able to travel through your mind.
yeah.
And maybe
like,
that's time travel. Maybe
But-
people aren't actually getting in some space car and traveling at 1.21 gigawatts and going into the past or the future. They're just all up in their
miles
head.
per hour, man.
Yeah, whatever. But they're just all up in their head, and they're doing some crazy stuff with their mind.
Well, that's nothing new. That's a lot of what people's idea of time travel is. Like, have you ever saw that movie Somewhere in Time?
No.
With Jane Seymour, Dr. Quinn,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and Superman. Christopher Reeves, where he actually travels back in time through astral projection with his mind. And goes back, like in the beginning of the movie, this old lady, he's like an actor, like a stage actor. Old lady comes up to him and it's like, says some shit to him like they were lovers. You know what I mean? He's like, what the fuck is that? So he does some research, figures out who she is, and he finds out that she was like a beautiful actress back in the day. So he tries to astral project back in time. He buys like clothes set to the time. Is it like the whole part of it is you have to have money in your pocket from that time. You have to be like you were in that time. And then he basically astral projected, which is like taking your soul out of projecting your astral body out of your actual body and traveling through time and space. You can go anywhere, or anytime and shit. Basically, that's what he did. And I mean, this is not this has been something that people, I'm sure, was very hip to try to do back in the New Age days, back in like the 60s and 70s. And I'm sure they did it a long fucking time before that too. Because it's a very old concept. But it's kind of like that. That is a very well-known form of time travel in that community. But that's a good movie. Check it out. It's from like the late 80s, early 90s.
I feel like there's a lot more of the subject that we like need to talk about, so we're gonna have to.
No, we're gonna have to cut. We're gonna have to cut this pretty short right now because I think we're over an hour on the second part now.
Right.
No, I feel like we should continue this conversation. Like, we'll think about it more, maybe do a little more research, and we'll reconvene on this, all three of us. Have Emily back on.
For sure.
We'll do a part 3. Well, I guess this would be part 2 because we didn't talk about the stuff in the first part. So part 2 of the, I guess, paranormal / pseudo, well, not pseudo because that means fake, but science and physics conversation.
We're going to talk about some pseudo fake shit.
But it's not.
No, it's absolutely not.
With that said, I am Mark. This is Jay.
Yep.
And Emily Boy, the Bodge, over here.
The Bodge.
Whom I love.
El the Bodge.
And this has been episode 22. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, check out mattarchermedia.com. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/mattarchermedia. All audio versions of the podcast are available on Bandcamp.
Well, imagine that.
Yeah, at mattarchermedia.com .bandcamp.com. Let me say that again. mattarchermedia.bandcamp.com.
Yeah.
And
check it out.
We have an Instagram, Matt Archer Media on Instagram. And you can follow us on Twitter, at Matt Archer Media. I am also on Twitter at The Western Jesus, if you'd like to follow me as well.
Yeah.
With that said, until next time, have a good one.
Peace. Deuce. Poops.
Come on. Poops.
Say poops.
That's your thing.
Poops. I said it for her.
Good.